Hello and thanks for stopping by. This is another speed build video I have made of a home I fixed. The home I fixed recently is the Bedlington Boathouse home that sits on a 20 by 20 lot, which is located in the Cavalier Cove area in the Brindleton Bay World that came with the Cats and Dogs expansion pack. The reason I wanted to fix this boathouse was because my sim wanted a family, so I turned this from a 1 bed and 1 bath home into a 2 bed and 2 bath home. So with that reason being in mind, I really wanted to create a family home feel that was also pet friendly. Just a note though that I want to get in here just before I talk more about the build, just in case you was wondering why 2 black bars pop up at either side of this video when I start designing the interior on the second floor. That's just because I recorded in I think this is how you say it, 1920 by 1200 aspect ratio, which is a bit too big, so I am sorry about that, and that's the reason why the bars do pop up in like the last 10 minutes or so of the video, which I didn't realize my aspect ratio was set to that until after finishing the whole build and completed all of my recording. But hopefully you can ignore that, and next time I will remember to record everything in the correct aspect ratio so that you won't have those bars at the side. With those now being noted, let's move back to talking about fixing this boathouse. So you might have noticed already I started to remove the furnishing inside the house first, and then after that I knocked down all the interior walls and the exterior wall at the front of the house. Once I had knocked down the front, I built a new wall across the front. I also knocked down the exterior fencing, pillars and stairs and took out the windows and doors, though I did keep the exterior walls at the side and the back of the house the same as they were originally, just trying to keep at least some of that original character. Now that the interior walls and furnishings have been taken out and an exterior wall at the front changed the shape of the house, this then of course changed the layout of the home. So I just want to talk quickly through the new layout before going into more detail about each room, the garden and the other bits and pieces I fixed. So, starting with the first floor, I made a small square hallway sitting behind the entrance door. In the hallway, you and your Sims will see a small wooden door that leads to the shower room and the stairs that lead up to the second floor. In the hallway there is also 2 double doors with windows in. The one on the right, if looking from the front view of the house, your Sims have their living room that runs down the right side of the house, and the double doors on the left lead through to their dining room. In the dining room we also have a little laundry room that runs along the wall where the window sits, that stretches from the dining room straight into the kitchen. You can enter the kitchen that now sits at the back left of the house compared to before where it was at the front of the house, either through the archways that sit at both ends of the laundry room walls, or your Sims can walk through the double glass doors that sit in the wall between the dining room and the kitchen. The small room that sits behind the small wooden door in the kitchen leads to a small water closet that also sits at the back of the house, whereas before the bathroom was close to the kitchen at the front of the house. Moving on to the upstairs, your Sims enter the landing once they have finished climbing all the stairs, and if your Sims were to look behind them at the top of the stairs, they will find 2 small wooden doors at either side of the fence, and behind one of these wooden doors sits a water closet, and behind the other one is a bathing room. Going back to the top of the stairs, and if your Sims were to look to their right, they would see the double glass doors, and behind these doors is the main bedroom, and if they were to look to their left, they would find the kids' bedroom, or you could even turn this into a spare room, whatever suits you and your Sims' needs. I did do a little floor plan that you will have seen pop up at about 3 minutes into this video, just so that you could see what I am talking about. I know at the moment you won't know what I'm talking about by the doors because I haven't placed them in yet, but you will see what I mean when we move further on into the video. You will have probably noticed from the floor plan that I keep all the rooms closed off from each other compared to the original build where it was all open plan, just because it feels more comfortable that way. Now that's a basic description of the layout covered, let's move on to the details. First, starting with the roof. Because of the new shape of the house, I then had to readjust the roof to sit on top and cover the whole house before your Sims turn into an ice block and fall to the ground in the winter season, which you may know what I mean if you have the seasons pack and you have left your Sims out in the cold for too long. Whoops. Anyway, jokes aside, it took me a while going back and forth with the roof because of how the roof hangs over most of the second floor. So if you were to look at the house from the outside, it kind of gives most of the house a bungalow look, which I really liked. So that's why I kept the roof the same as the original one. I just kind of dragged that original roof and covered most of the second floor's newish kind of shape that was created. It just hid the second floor from the outside view, so it was nice to kind of keep that second floor a bit of a secret. I didn't change the roof on the second floor's bathroom because I felt I didn't need to, so I just copied and pasted that roof to the kids' bedroom, which if you were to look at the front of the house from the outside, it kind of just looks like a little loft conversion peeking out the roof. I also copied the same roof again and pasted that on the front left side of the house where the wall kind of sticks out and stretches from the first floor all the way up to the second floor. Once I had completed the roof and kind of like adjusted a little bit of the room sizes on the second floor just so that the roof would fit comfortably on top and fit with the exterior wall on the bottom floor, I then went around the house and put concrete on the exterior walls just so that I had a blank canvas to work with. I then adjusted the first floor's wall height from medium to small to match the second floor's wall height. Also, I just felt like it made the house more comfortable from both the outside and inside with having small walls. I then popped in a chimney from the Cottage Living pack just because I liked the 2 chimney flues it had on that chimney, and I just surrounded the chimney with some half walls and put a trim on top of the half wall to blend in well with the chimney. After putting the walls in for the second floor as well as, popping the chimney on top, I then focused on putting the shacked side singles from Cats and Dogs pack on the exterior walls in a brown, and then after I then went to focus on placing the doors and windows. Well, actually I placed in the Strangerville door first before I did the exterior wall, just because I spotted that door and I just really liked the mosaic window style it has, so I wanted to pop that in there first and have the exterior wall match the door, kind of like match it but contrast with it in a nice kind of way. Then for the windows, I just added in the inspirational windows from Cottage Living for all sides of the house just because they had a nice width to them and a nice archway at the top, which gave the home a bit of a cottagey feel, and the size of them were just a nice comfortable fit in the walls of this house. And the other windows I used were also from Cottage Living pack. They were the small ones because they just fit nicely in the little rooms that stick out the roof, and at the back I used the nice mosaic circle window with the fox on it just because it just felt fitting for the Brindleton Bay with it being an animal friendly place. I used the beige colour swatch for all the windows just to match with the Strangerville door, and that's also one of the other reasons why I chose those windows, because they had the swatch that matched perfectly with that door. The doors that I use for the interior are the small wooden Cottage Living doors in a dark brown swatch and the double doors with windows in from Get to Work leading into all the other rooms in the house. I used the small wooden doors for the bathrooms just to give a cottagey feel, and I used the double doors with windows in for all the other rooms just to make the rooms feel more open, especially now that I have just added in a lot of walls separating each of the rooms compared to before where the home was very open plan and only had one base game door leading into the downstairs bathroom. Apart from the laundry room, actually, the laundry room just uses 2 base game archways. After placing in the exterior windows and doors to add the finishing touches to the shell of the house, I placed some for rent trims on every corner of the exterior walls just to make the house stand out a bit more. I kept the decking that was part of the house originally and I just extended it to fit across the whole of the front of the house just because I wanted to give mine and your Sims a decking area at the front, and I liked keeping the house up off the ground. On the decking I placed some stone. Usually I would just use wood for decking, but it was nice to have a little bit of a different flooring this time. Then I surrounded the decking with the Cats and Dogs fencing to tie in that Brindleton Bay style. And for the finishing touches to this decking, I placed in some wooden stairs and placed in the stone platform trim from Horse Ranch under the decking. After the decking was complete, I could then make a start on the garden. First, before decorating the floor with garden items, I placed under all the big exterior windows dotted around the house some planter boxes just to add colour and greenery to the windows. After the planter boxes were in place, I then added a little natural garden bed made from stones in front of the decking. In this little stone, or I'm gonna call it a rock garden bed, I added in 3 hedge full of flowers. I put in this rock garden just because I wanted to add in a bit of a garden area to the front of the decking, and to give a natural touch to this rock garden, I used the soil terrain paint underneath to make the plants appear as though they are sitting in soil rather than just sitting on the grass. To the side of this rock garden bed, I added in a little floral cart just for decoration, and also it just makes it look like your Sims have been pulling this cart around their garden and placing some plant pots down, and also because I kind of wanted this home to have a bit of a cottagey feel, just a little, so I thought the cart suited that very well. Also, this cart made for a great table for a little lantern to sit on top to ever so slightly light up that rock garden when the light goes down. At the front of the other side of the decking, I added in a little camping area because with this being a family home, I imagined the younger Sims would have fun eating the roasted marshmallows and listening to the stories around the campfire with their friends and or family. But yeah, I thought it was fun for your child Sims or the younger Sims to have a little camp area near the trees. To keep the bins out of the way of the entrance of the house and the decking, I tucked them away in the corner near the steps that lead up to the decking. I also added a classic old looking bicycle at the front of the stairs just for your Sims' convenience and in case they wanted to go anywhere quickly. After the front of the decking looks now less plain, I moved up onto the decking area and I placed most of the garden up on this decking area for this home, which is different to what I normally do. So at first I placed down a little birdhouse tucked away in the corner on the left before adding in the plants, just to make it look more like an animal friendly home. And then this is where I had a lot of fun with the garden. I just covered this decking with lots and lots of plants in pots that are usually placed inside your Sims home, but I wanted these indoor plants outdoors just because they came in plant pots and it might have looked a bit odd having plants that needed to go in soil just sitting on the stone decking. I mean, I could have added the planter boxes and added plants in that, but I quite liked the idea of doing something a little different this time. So yeah, I had fun choosing a lot of different indoor plants and sizing them up or down just to give them a bit of variety. Honestly though, with this decking area, to turn it into a garden, I was really struggling with what to do. But yeah, after I placed one plant pot down, I then just let myself get carried away and placed loads of plants down, and actually I was really happy with the end result on that decking area. It just makes it look like the Sim in that home really likes their gardening, and I hope you Simmers like it as well. I also added in the water fountain from Lovestruck just because I wanted a water fountain on this decking area, not for any particular reason really. I just placed it down probably because that is one of my favorite outdoor features at the moment. To make the big wall that sticks out at the front a little less plain, I added a trellis with some greenery climbing up it and placed in a lot of greenery surrounding the windows, just making the house look like it's been there a while. And for the finishing touches to the garden, I dotted around some lanterns around the decking and camp area and added some of those outdoor lanterns that came with the romantic garden pack and popped them on top of the fence, and some candles from the seasons pack just to sit under one of the windows. I chose these candles just because I liked that they give the effect that your Sims has just popped some candles down in between some fallen leaves, which I think will look really nice in the autumn season when you're playing the game. And I think having the different lights dotted around really makes the home look nice and cozy at night, especially if your Sims are out enjoying their outdoorsy lifestyle in the evening around their campfire. And not to forget, I added a few hanging baskets hanging next to the window at both sides of the house. Oh, and I nearly forgot to say I put a wall mailbox next to the door with a light hanging over the top and some garden decor and clutter near the entrance just to make it look more of a welcoming home. Moving on to the inside through the front door, your Sims enter straight into the small square hallway. The original home did not have a hallway. I just made one to cover up some space in the home, and I wanted a warm, welcoming area for your Sims. In this hallway you can find a few decorations, an umbrella stand useful for the rainy days, and a little fishbowl, just so that those Sims coming to visit know that animals are certainly welcome in this home. And for the lighting, I used the firelight sconce from Growing Together next to the double doors on either side of the hallway, and placed some more of those lights next to the little picture on the wall that your Sims walk past when going upstairs. For the finishing touches, and to make sure your Sims know that this is still a Brindleton Bay home, even though it may not look it in some parts, I used the Designer Maritime pendant light as the main light, a little cat decor near the shower room door, and a doormat, which are from the Cats and Dogs pack. I wanted to keep the shower room hidden behind the small wooden door in the hallway, separate from the water closet, which is located at the back of the house, so that different Sims can use both rooms at the same time. Especially useful for both your Sims and their guests if there is a social event going on. Because there is only a shower in this room, that then left quite a bit of space for decoration. So I added shelving next to the shower for your Sims shower essentials, and I put a little plant and a little rabbit near the door, and I placed in other decor and clutter pieces which you will find hanging and sitting around the room. I placed a mirror to fill up some wall space, and I also thought having a mirror in the room might be convenient for if your Sims wanted to level up some of their skills, and to give your Sims a boost when practicing their skills, I added in the incense candle which sits on the shelf below the mirror. I also placed a mirror in both the upstairs bathroom and the main bedroom, just so then multiple Sims in the household can level up their skills all at the same time. Under the mirror, you will have noticed I placed in a laundry basket. I also placed a laundry basket in all bathrooms and bedrooms, which is a necessity because this home comes with a laundry room. And for the lighting, I thought the laundry day hanging light bulb light matched this room really well, so I used that light. After finishing the shower room, I moved into the living room. I wanted this living room to be comfortable but also pet friendly. For this room to be pet friendly, I thought it would be good for your Sims pets to have their own little space in the back corner, because you know, even pets sometimes need their own space. But to fit in a pet area without taking away too much from the living room, I needed the living room to have a big enough space. So that's why I have the living room stretching all along the right side of the house. That is if you were looking from the front view. To create the pet area, I placed in a small fence from the toddler stuff pack and placed in a dog bed and a food bowl. I chose the food bowl with the timer just so that your pets can still have access to food when your Sims are out of the house because of work or for whatever reason. I popped a rug under the big pet bed just for comfort and to stop your pet's paws from getting cold in the winter. And for the finishing touches to this pet area, I added in some decor and clutter items. Talking about the cold, actually, the first thing I placed in the living room was the cottage living fireplace, again giving it that cottagey feel, and this was one of the few, or if not the only fireplace I have that lets me place a TV on it. I placed in a fireplace because I thought it suited this family home really well. Sorry, I know that is probably going to get your Sims bills to go through the roof. I then put some decorations on and around the fireplace after it was installed. In front of the fireplace, I placed a laundry day sofa and chair, and next to the chair I placed a cross-stitching box. I also added in Thimble, the little hedgehog, and Thimble's home near the window at the front of the house, just to add more pets to this pet-friendly home. And to pull this living room together, I placed in decor in different areas of the room. I chose decor that matched the family home style going on, such as the grandfather clock and the picture frames. The picture frames you can find near the water closet door, which is tucked away in the corner near the pet area. I put those picture frames in there just so that your family could add their own pictures just for old time's sake. And just for those social events, I placed a little speaker on the accent table, which you can find sits behind the sofa. Just because I feel like there would be so many social events happening in this home just to celebrate your Sims family members or friends, milestones and birthdays. And finally, to light up the room, I placed in the Book Nook Kits standing light, which kind of hangs over the sofa, which is great for if your Sims want to take a book from their little book collection, which can be found behind the sofa, and read a book. You and your Sims will also find dotted around some more lighting, like another standing light near the pet area and some candles, one sitting on the floor near the double doors and some on the window ledges. To create the window ledges, I just used a few simple base game immaculate shelves, which I sized down and all placed them to fit comfortably under the window frames. And I just changed the shelving swatch to match as best they could with the windows. If you have seen my previous videos, you will know that we often make those window ledges in many builds, just because I think they add so much more to the windows placed in your Sims homes. Having both the candles on the window ledges and some curtains hanging up really makes this home look comfortable from the outside looking in. From the living room, you can enter the water closet through the small wooden door, and in this room your Sims will obviously find a toilet, but they will also find something a little different. I've done something a little different with this toilet area, and what I mean by that is I placed 2 cabinets from Eco Lifestyle at either side of the toilet. I chose these cabinets because they were the best fit in the corners compared to the others, and then in between these cabinets I placed a few of those favourite of mine multi-purpose shelves, some of which I sized down and had them running along between the 2 cabinets, just so that it looked kind of like it was a big shelving unit that had been attached together for storage purposes. After the important plumbing was installed, I added in some decor and clutter to the shelving surrounding the toilet and a little picture on the stone wall, just to finish off the bathroom. And also, not to forget the lighting, I just added in another cats and dogs pendant light and a little candle to set on one of the shelves. Now for the kitchen, I wanted this kitchen to be a big family kitchen, so I really wanted to use a lot of cabinets in here because it had a lot of space. I chose the cabinets from the Parenthood pack just because they were the ones that matched with the fridge. Actually, I had my eyes set on the fridge first and then I chose the cabinets after choosing the fridge. I wanted the fridge to have that family looking feel, if you know what I mean. So yeah, once I chose that from the Parenthood pack, then I decided on the cabinets. I chose cabinets in a swatch that matched the fridge the best. It was a bit difficult actually matching the fridge with the cabinet swatches. They're a little bit different and they're not exactly a perfect match. And I also wanted to keep this kitchen quite neutral. I was gonna do like a different colour, but I don't know, the beigey brown colour kind of fitted the rest of the house very well. So yeah, I had a load of those Parenthood cabinets sitting at the bottom and the top of the kitchen's stone wall, and I put an island in the middle as well with some bar stools so that if your family wanted to gather in the kitchen whilst one is preparing the food, the others could just sit there and chat to them. Or it's a really good idea to have those bar stools in there if your household is running a social event. It just gives them some extra seats. I added in some kitchen appliances like the 4-ring kettle, which I absolutely love, and a microwave. Just because I had so many cabinets, I had space to fit on those appliances. I mean, I could have added more appliances, but I didn't want to take away too much cooking space from your Sims, so I kept a few spare. Yeah, that's it for the appliances. I kept the cooker in the island. I don't know why I decided to put it there. I just thought, oh, it's kind of adds something to the island. I don't know why. And after placing the necessary kitchen appliances, I just then filled the rest of the kitchen with some decor. Mostly the decor comes from the cottage living pack because I wanted that cottagey feel to still run through the house. And just one more thing about the decoration, like I put in I think it's from Growing Together, there's a flower kind of bouquet thing on the table, which does actually make it difficult for your Sim to eat their dinner if they are sitting in the middle bar stool. If you want, you can take that off the table. I just put that there to make the island look a little less plain. And yeah, I was pretty pleased with how the kitchen turned out. Moving on to the laundry room. The reason I have a laundry room in this home is because I always play with the laundry day pack in game. So yeah, I just thought it was necessary to add in a laundry room with this home. I color coded the washing machine and the dryer, so the white machine is the washing machine and the light brown machine is the dryer, just because it just made it easier for me in gameplay, and it might make it just a tiny bit easier for you Simmers as well. I had the laundry room at this side of the house to kind of tuck it out of the way, and I just thought it was easier to have the laundry room near the kitchen because my Sims spend most of the time in the kitchen. There is easy access to this laundry room through both the kitchen and the dining room through the archways, which also could act as another route for your Sims in case they are lazy, and I didn't want to have any doors on this laundry room because I didn't want the doors to swing open when your Sims are doing the laundry. And to complete this room, I added in a lot of decor and clutter from the Laundry Day stuff pack with things that you might find in a laundry room, such as towels, detergent, and other stuff like that. For the lighting, I have the candles sat on the Laundry Day accent table, and for the main light, I used the hanging light bulb, the same one that I used in the shower room. But yeah, that's it for the laundry room. Moving on to the dining room. In the dining room, we have a nice round dining table that seats 6 Sims, and I put on top of the table the little eco lifestyle plant decor. I just felt it added a modern feel and brought in also a neutral look to this dining room. I used a fluffy circle rug under the table just for some comfort, and I really wanted to put a bar in here, but the end result was I just didn't bother trying to put one in because when I was placing different bars down, none of them were working for me. So instead I opted for the Toasted Celebrations bucket from my Wedding Stories pack that sits on a accent table in a nice light brown swatch to match the dining room table. And I also have just a spot of tea set for those guests who prefer their cup of tea when attending this household's social events. I did place a few activities in this room, that being the guitar for if they wanted to have a little bit of a jam in this dining room when there's a social event going on, or just want to share some music whilst the family's gathered around the dining table. And I added in the bonsai tree that just helps build the flower arranging skill, and you can just change that bonsai tree to whatever shape you want, and it adds a nice little bit of a decoration to the dining room as well. For decorations, I just used the cabinet from high school years and kind of tucked it away in the nook that sits next to the laundry room, and I put on that cabinet some napkins, plates and bowls just to make it look like your Sims can grab more cutlery if they need to. Well, it gives it that kind of effect because I just wanted it to make it feel more like a dining room. And I filled the room with other decor pieces, but not too much, just to tie the room together but yet keep the room spacious and simple. And the lighting I chose were the vintage sconce lights, which I used at the side of the pictures just to make it stand out a bit, and I used the orb light to light up the corner near the door, and also a nice round light to hang over the dining table. So yeah, that's it for the dining room and the first floor. Now moving up onto the second floor. Once your Sims have reached the top of the stairs, they automatically enter onto the landing. Here I kept the landing simple. I just added a small base game accent table near the fence, and on top of this little accent table is a little tray with some decor and candles in it. The candles act as a light. To keep this landing spacious and simple, I added a few more decor pieces, which were the vase and the plant sitting next to the double doors. And to light up this landing, I just used the vintage sconce lighting. Moving on to the bathroom, I again kept the water closet separate from the bathing area just to keep it convenient for if 2 Sims needed to use the bathroom for different reasons at the same time. For the water closet, I just placed in a simple toilet with some nifty knitting decor hanging above it in a swatch that matched the little eco lifestyle plants at the side of the toilet, just to add some greenery to the room and a bit of colour. And for lighting in here, I just used a sconce light above the door. Moving into the bathing area, I really wanted this to have a cottagey feel, so I used the cottage living bath and sink. I knew I wanted both a bath and a shower for this home, just to make it again convenient for if your Sim either wanted to choose between a speedy shower or a soak in the bath. Also, having a bath for the home was really handy as this is a family and pet friendly home. For the finishing touches, I just added some decor and clutter placed on the walls and floor, giving more of a bathroom feel and to just fill up some space. And I also put some more decor on the simple immaculate shelf, which I sat under the mirror. I changed the swatch on the shelf just to make it look like the shelf was part of the mirror, and on this shelf I just sized down the towels and alt placed them on the shelf to make them look like little face towels. For the curtain, I used the vintage glamour curtains because they were the best fit for this window out of all the options I had. For the lighting, I used the cottage living chandelier, and I placed some candles on the floor near the bath just to set a comfortable mood. So yeah, that's the nice cottagey feel bath area done. As soon as you go through the double doors, your Sims are leaded into the getting ready area, where they're greeted with 2 coastal carries, big cozy chairs sitting next to the standing mirror and in front of the window, and some cushions on the chairs just for extra comfort. Also in this area, I placed in a chest of drawers with some decor and clutter on to make it just look more like a getting ready area. And to tie in that Brindleton Bay style, I just put on the wall a picture from Cats and Dogs and the cat decor piece, which you can find sat by the door. To divide this getting ready area from where the bed lays is the divider from the spa day pack, which looks really comfortable in this room, and it also acts as a little light. I really wanted this area where the bed is placed to feel like a little library, so I just had like the book nook bookshelves covering most of that wall where the window sits, and make it feel like the sim that has this room really likes books or is a bookworm, where your bookworm Sims can spend a lot of their day off in this room, cozy up in bed and read a lot of books from the variety of books they can choose from. So yeah, I was really pleased with how that came together. It really made it look like a really comfortable reading and sleeping area. To just make the shelves less bare, I just put in some clutter and decor pieces on top and inside of the shelves. And before I forget, I placed a little pet bed at the side of the bed, and if the pet was bored whilst your Sims were sleeping, I placed a little pet toy near the bed. I chose to hang some empty picture frames up on the wall so they can just add in more pictures they have taken of their family or friends or even their pets. For the lighting, I just chose candles, which I put on the bookshelves, and I used the same orb light that was used in the dining room and placed that at the bottom corner away from the bed, just so it isn't too bright. I chose all warm lighting for the bed area just to give it a warm and comfortable feel, and I just used the pendant in the getting ready area just to brighten up that room a little bit more. So yeah, that's the bedroom done. Now moving on to the final room, the kids' bedroom across the landing. Now for this kids' bedroom, I absolutely had a load of fun of just adding loads of toys in here and clutter and decor in here, just making it feel just a really busy kids' room. And I had a lot of fun with the pink. There's a very pink colour themed room. I have put a activity table in this room. I really wanted that in there just so that young creative Sims can craft many holiday decorations or just make things for their beloved family members or friends. In the cozy nook corner, I'm going to call it, which is surrounded by the pink walls, I placed in the wide curved computer for if your young Sims, when reaching the teen years, wanted to become a video game streamer, they then can do that. I really like the plump pillow pad because I just think that's what a young Sim would have in their room, and place just like a little tablet next to the pillows, because I can imagine that your young Sims can just like sit on them cushions and read a little book from their little book collection, or they can just sit and play on the tablet. For the lighting, I just used a little lantern sitting on the floor near the bed and placed a canopy of lights above the bed and placed those touches starlight wall lights and ceiling lights all in that nook area. And yeah, I was really happy with how this room turned out. It really gave a young Sim vibe in this room. Now that's the house fixed and completed. This house is now up on the gallery as New Bedlington Boathouse under Just a Fan of the Sim, similar to the name of this channel but without the S on the end. A screenshot with the gallery information will pop up at the end of this video before the tour. Before placing this home into your Sims worlds, please make sure to turn on BB Move objects just so that things are not misplaced or go missing when you place this lot down. I will leave you now to watch the tour of the house, and I just want to say thank you to those for liking, commenting and subscribing. It really means a lot, and a big thank you for watching. I hope you have a good weekend, Simmers, and see you next time.